The previous video, that is the 37th video, where we covered 8 to 14, that is 7 slokas that we covered. Lord Krishna describes the glories of a Sankhya yogi, and he also talks in praise of the karma yogi who practices nishkama karma. Talking about the karma yogi who dedicates all actions to Brahman and gives up attachment, Lord Krishna tells that such a karma yogi is not tainted by sins. Describing the marks of a Sankhya yogi, a Sankhya yogi who has absolute self-control and who mentally renounces action. Talking about this Sankhya yogi, Lord Krishna tells that this Sankhya yogi happily resides in the Navadwarapuram, that is the 9-gated city, which is nothing but the physical body. And this Sankhya yogi happily residing in that 9-gated city, he neither acts nor causes others to act. In the slokas that we would cover today, that is 15 to the 21st sloka, Lord Krishna talks about the characteristics of a karma yogi who is eligible for liberation. Na datte kasyachit papam na chaiva sukrutam vibhuhu ajnanena vritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Vibhu, the omnipresent Lord, kasyachit papam na adatte. That is, the omnipresent Lord, Vibhu, does not accept kasyachit papam na adatte, does not accept anybody's sin. Sukrutam evacha na, neither does he accept anyone's virtue or good deeds. Ajnanena jnanam avritam. Knowledge is enveloped by ajnana, that is ignorance. Tena muhyanti jantavaha. Now, because of this ignorance, living beings are deluded. So, when a man performs good deeds, he enjoys the fruits of the good work. And he suffers when he performs bad deeds. Lord has nothing to do with all this. He neither accepts good deeds nor bad deeds. So man alone is responsible for what he does. So the Lord is a mere witness to all happenings. So likewise, the Atma in us is not the doer. When it is not the doer, then how can it be connected or related to merits or demerits that incurs on account of performing any action? The whole problem arises only because the consciousness, the sense of discrimination in us gets covered by ignorance. It gets enveloped by ignorance. In the absence of Vedic knowledge, we are deluded. We consider ourselves as a doer and we get caught in the karma bandhana. The delusion in us is on account of the previous karma. The good or bad deeds performed by us is because of the previous karma, the previous vasana. The Atma becomes shrouded due to the reactions of the past karma, because of which the living entities think that they are enjoying the fruits of action. Only for material well-being, only due to attachment, one performs sinful activities and then we keep blaming the Lord for all our sufferings. So when the Lord says that knowledge is covered by ignorance, he means that we as living entities think that we are the body and because of which we suffer. Now when this ignorance is gone, the Atma in us shines and the knowledge in us shines brilliantly. Jnanena tu tadajnanam yesham nashitam atmanah tesham adityavat jnanam prakashayati tatparam. Tu, but yesham tat ajnanam atmanah, for those whom the ignorance is destroyed. Jnanena nashitam. So by knowledge of the self, by Atma Jnan, they are able to destroy the ignorance. Adityavat tatparam prakashayati. So that knowledge, like the sun, reveals the supreme Brahman in us. So in the previous shloka, the Lord tells us that knowledge is enveloped by ignorance. The living entity thinks he is the doer and he is enjoying the fruits of action. So what happens when knowledge is acquired? Just as thick clouds that cover the sun move away and the brilliance of the sun is revealed to us, likewise, knowledge causes Atma to shine. Just as the sun is always there, the Atma is also always there. But when the ignorance is driven away by knowledge, Atma is experienced. Every living entity has an Atma which is divine. So whichever person drives away the ignorance with knowledge experiences the Atma. The veil of ignorance is in us is on account of the past karma performed in many lifetimes. So by imbibing the Vedic teachings, by reading and understanding the Bhagavad Gita, by meditating, by doing nishkama karma, we can remove this cloud of ignorance. Tadbuddhayastad Tadatmanaha tannishtastatparayanaha gacchantya punaravrittim jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha. Tadatmanaha, one whose mind meditates on Paramatma, that is the inner self. Tat buddhayaha, one whose mind is always engrossed in Paramatma, one who has spiritual intelligence. Tannishtaha, whose faith is fixed, one whose faith is fixed. Tat parayanaha, one who has taken shelter, refuge in the Lord, that is in the ultimate truth. Jnana nirdhuta kalmashaha, that whose ignorance is dispelled through what? Through jnana, through by knowledge. Apunaravritti gacchanti. Apunaravritti gacchanti. So he gets liberated. He is free from the cycle of birth and death and from material existence. So in this shloka, the Lord tells us when the true knowledge of a spiritual aspirant reveals itself. The realization of Brahman is a spiritual goal. So when a spiritual aspirant, tat buddhayaha, when his intellect, when his conscience is absorbed in Brahman, and that is, he is always meditating on the Brahman. Tadatmanaha, his heart is always absorbed in the Supreme Lord. There is absolute loving devotion within the heart. Tat nishtaha, his faith, that person's faith is firmly fixed. The faith in Vedic culture is there and he enthusiastically follows it. Tat parayanaha, one who has taken refuge in the Supreme. So that person's sins, ignorance is removed and he goes to the place where there is no return. Meaning he is liberated from the cycle of birth and death and he attains Brahman. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shuni chaiva shvapake cha pandita samadarshinaha. Panditaha, pandits learned in true spirituality. Vidya vinaya sampanne brahmane. So a Brahmin with Vidya, Vedic knowledge, and he also has Vinaya, that is, Vinaya is humility. So he is well versed, he is, he has Vedic knowledge, at the same time a very humble Brahmin. Gavi, Gavi is a cow, Hastini, elephant, Shunicha, Shuni, a dog, Shwapake, a lower animal eating person. So Samadarshinaha. So this Pandit, this person who is, who's learned of true spirituality, that sage, he views everyone equally. He has Samadarshi. He is a person with Samadarshan. He views everyone the same way. So who is a true sage, a learned person who has Vedic knowledge? He is one who sees all as equal. So be it a well-versed and a humble Brahmin, be it a cow, an elephant, a dog, or a lower dog-eating Shwapakaha, all are equal in this Pandit's vision. The varied appearances such as a Brahmin, an elephant, cow, dog, they are all due to the Prakriti or the material nature. The Atma of all these living entities, they have the same divinity. A Pandit, a learned man, is one who perceives the reality as it is and he beholds the Atma in everyone as the same and he perceives all equally. So the word Samadarshinaha, it means equality in perception. So a true Pandit is a person who is learned in spirituality, is a person who has this Samadarshan. Ihaiva tairjita sargaha yesham samye stitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmani te stitaha. Yesham manaha samye stitam. So Yesham, this person, he whose mind is established in Samya, in equality, Iha eva, even while living in this physical body. Sargaha jitaha. Sargaha is creation. So jitaha is win. So he is able to win over creation, which means he is able to win over the cycle of birth and death. Brahma nirdosham samam. The Atma, Brahman, is unattached. It is untainted. It is untainted and is the same in all. It is samam. It is the same in all. Tasmat te brahmani stitaha. Therefore, they rest in the Brahman. So the message that is being sent out in the sloka is that those whose mind are established in equanimity, that is, they see everything as the same. They conquer this world in this very life. Since the Brahman in all of us is the same, such persons who are free from dualities, such persons who have this vision of equality, they reach Brahman very easily, meaning they have understood the ultimate truth and they have established themselves in the ultimate truth. The word ihaiva means that in this world itself, even as they live in the physical body, by performing the prescribed Vedic activities, these people are able to perceive equality. They get liberated from the cycle of birth and death. So, in this shloka, the Lord tells us that all those who are able to see the divinity of the Atma in them and see the same divinity in the Atmas of all the living entities, they are truly enlightened. So, Lord Krishna praises these evolved persons who have achieved equanimity of vision and mind. न प्रहृष्येत् प्रियं प्राप्य नोद्विजेत् प्राप्य चाप्रियं स्थिरबुद्धिरसम्मूढः ब्रह्मविद् ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. Priyam prapya na prahrishyet. After getting a desired object, priyam prapya, he is not elated. Harsha, he is not prahrishyet, he is not elated, he doesn't jump in joy after he gets something very pleasant. Cha apriyam prapya na udvijet. When he is not troubled after getting something apriyam, that is something undesirable. Sthira buddhi asammudaha brahmavid brahmani stitaha. Sthira buddhi. So this man is of steady buddhi, intellect. Asammudaha. He is devoid of doubts, delusion. Brahmavid. With this know. So he is the knower of Brahman. And Brahmani stitaha. He is established in the Brahman. So in this verse, Lord Krishna explains the characteristics of a person who has attained the Brahman. This person is equipoised when faced with dualities. He doesn't jump in joy on getting something desirable, neither does he get dejected on receiving something unpleasant. He has sthira buddhi, his mind is steadfast. The word asammudaha means he is not deluded. So sammudaha is one who has confusion, one who thinks that he is a physical body. So this person who is asammudaha has no such delusions because he is a brahmavid, with this knower. So he is a knower of Brahman and hence is Brahmani stitaha. He is stitaha, he is always established, he is immersed and absorbed in the Atma and has realized the Atma Tattva and is in a blissful situation. He is in the spiritual communion with the Atma or the eternal perceptor, the Brahman. Bahya sparsheshva saktatma vindantyatmani yat sukham sabrahma yoga yuktatma sukhamakshayam ashnute. Bahya sparsheshu asaktatma. So bahya sparsheshu, that is external material objects. Bahya, external, and sakta is attachment, asakta is unattached. So one whose mind is not attached to external material objects, atmani yat sukham tat vindati. He experiences the inner happiness in the Atma. Brahma yoga yuktatma saha akshayam sukham ashnute. Brahma yoga yuktatma. So with mind united with Brahman, with the Atma, through deep meditation, saha akshayam sukham ashnute. So he enjoys, saha, he enjoys akshayam sukham ashnute. He enjoys unlimited bliss. So who can enjoy the unlimited bliss? First, a person must not relish in bahya sparsheshu. That is, he must not relish in external material objects. He must be asaktaha. He must not have attachments or desire for these. Atma and Brahman have the same nature in them and they have the same divinity in them. So when the individual delights in Brahma Yoga, that is merging the individual consciousness with the ultimate universal consciousness, by being immersed in this Brahman, he enjoys unlimited bliss. In the shlokas covered in this video, that is 15th to the 21st shlokas, Lord Krishna describes the characteristics of a person who is eligible for liberation. In the 15th shloka, Lord Krishna tells us that as a supreme Lord, he does not accept sins nor virtues. He merely witnesses them. When Atma Gyan is acquired by a karma yogi, his ignorance is removed, and like the sun, his Atma shines. One whose intellect is established in the Supreme, and with devotion, when he takes refuge in the ultimate Lord, he is liberated. A truly learned and wise sage, wise karma yogi, a wise spiritual person has samadarshan, meaning he perceives all living entities as the same. This karma yogi is equipoised and is not elated and dejected when faced with pleasant and unpleasant situations. This karma yogi is unattached to worldly objects, and by integrating the individual consciousness with universal consciousness, he enjoys eternal bliss. Lord Krishna in the next few shlokas, in the next few verses, provides insights on Jnana Yoga and Dhyana Yoga.